Hour back on Get Up. Our resident general manager is Mike Tannenbaum. We're going to play a game of NFL Draft Matchmaker. I got Super Bowl contenders, and you're going to give me matches that are going to put those teams over the top. We're going to start with the Buffalo Bills. They pick late in round one. Give me the perfect match to get Josh Allen to a Super Bowl.
Greedy, Denzel Boston, wide receiver, University of Washington. Incredibly productive career, 132 catches, 20 touchdowns. We're going to look at one of them here. Big physical guy. I think he's a perfect complement to DJ Moore. They got two productive tight ends. They didn't hit on Keon Coleman. Let's make Josh Allen more productive from the pocket. Denzel Boston is the perfect fit.
I love that pick. We hear so much about some of the other receivers in this class. Not enough about him. He will go round one. I love that one. Let's go to the NFC. The Detroit Lions. Hugely disappointing a year ago, but still thinking Super Bowl thoughts. Who is their perfect round one match?
Akeem Messidor, pass rusher, University of Miami, opposite side of Reuben Bates.
Yeah.
We keep talking about Aiden Hutchinson and their inability to close out games. Well, Messidor has had 35 and a half sacks between West Virginia and Miami. A little concerned about his age, but I'm fine with it at this point in the draft. This will help them score points on offense and close out games on defense with Messidor and Hutchinson.
To be clear, his age is 25. He's a much older prospect, and that's one of the reasons that some teams might knock him down the board a little bit, but insanely productive. The last one, the 49ers, thinking Super Bowl thoughts. Who was the perfect match in San Francisco?
Greeny, Omar Cooper, wide receiver, Indiana. I really like him. Very productive, 13 touchdowns this year. Look, San Francisco's had a lot of injuries. They added Mike Evans this year, but Ricky Pearsall is a good player. Durability's been an issue. If we can get some more weapons for Brock Purdy that can play all 17 games with hopefully a healthier defense, they can get back to the Super Bowl. I love this guy's route running ability, and look at his hands here. I think he's a day one starter. Mike Evans is a Band-Aid. He's a long-term
I'm totally with you. I just am skeptical that he'll still be there when they pick. It feels like he is a guy whose stock is rising rapidly. Don't be stunned if he winds up going ahead of Mekhi Lemon in the order of the wide receivers that get taken in this class. Okay, 9 days till the draft in Pittsburgh. I told you we had 9 draft day questions for Adam Schefter. The next one, Schefter, involves a man many people believe is the best player in this class, and that's running back Jeremiyah Love. But because of the position he plays, everyone wants to know, how high should we be expecting to hear his name?
Listen, it's hard to imagine he's not going to be a top pick here. Maybe he goes 4 to Tennessee, 5 to the Giants. Feels like the floor is number 7 in the Washington Commanders. But everybody's been wondering all along where he goes. I do think Tennessee is in play. I do think the Giants could be in play, though I think they ultimately decide to go defense. Washington makes the most sense. Washington is sitting there waiting to see whether one of these other teams makes the plunge on a running back. If they don't, Washington's been looking to upgrade its backfield for quite some time. To have a player like Love on the board potentially at number 7 will be a lottery.
So Mel refuses to call him a running back. Mel Kiper continues to say he's a weapon, and weapons equal winning. But the reality is he does play running back, and we know that teams are somewhat hesitant to draft one that high. What would be your thought if Tennessee at 4, the Giants at 5? Those would be two teams with young quarterbacks and a lot of holes. Taking a running back, what would you think of it?
Young quarterbacks and first-time head coaches with their respective teams. So I look at it as you're trying to build something. You give this young quarterback a weapon like Jeremiyah Love. It is unbelievable to pair those two. I look at the Giants at 5, and what's so intriguing to what Schefter's saying, there's other holes and there's different things they can do, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. But my fear would be if I am John Harbaugh at 5, if I pass on Jeremiyah Love, if the floor is 7 to the Washington.
But you know what? No matter who the Giants pass on, there's a realistic possibility they're going to be facing him anyway. It might be Caleb Downs in Washington.
Absolutely.
Right? So whoever they don't pick very well could wind up in the division playing a division rival, the Commanders.
The names that you will hear most associated with the Giants in the mock drafts here, maybe they wind up with Jeremiyah Love if he's still there, if Tennessee doesn't take him. The offensive tackle, Francis Mauigoa, out of Miami, his name is heard there a lot. The safety, Caleb Downs from Ohio State. Is it too high for a safety? Similar question that you will get. And then do they need to take a wide receiver? And would that be Carnell Tate from Ohio State in that spot? If you're the Giants, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm taking Jeremiyah Love, although when you heard John Harbaugh yesterday talk about Malik Neighbors, years, he may not be ready for the regular season. So Cardell Tate has to be in that conversation. But for me, this is about the intangibles. Like John Harbaugh, as a first-year head coach in New York, setting a tone, setting a culture of toughness. You want to help Jackson Dart. I go back to what Jeremiyah Love can do out of the backfield. Those long handoffs will help Jackson Dart more than anything else.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And then, from a philosophy standpoint, I mean, just generally speaking, when people talk about roster building and how drafting a running back will make him immediately one of the highest paid players at his position, as a general manager, is that something that you give thought to?
Absolutely. It's a concern. But here's what I would say. If the four of us were in a draft meeting and we all decide that Jeremiyah Love's the best player, and I would say, look, it's on me. There's a $300 million cap. We'll find that difference someplace else. Maybe it's a guard, maybe it's a safety. But if this is the best player, he can help our young quarterback, we'll find the difference, even though it's not ideal.
My biggest concern last year, I had about 4 different Raiders games, and Ashton Genty, you saw the flashes. When he got the ball and he had some space, unbelievable. And I'm not saying him and Jeremiyah Love are the same players, but if you don't have an offensive line to open those holes or weapons on the outside to back the defense up, it's a lot to ask the running back to create something when there's nothing there.
Well, let's move it forward here. Again, I got 9 questions to get to this morning. For Adam Schefter, we touched briefly on Ty Simpson earlier in our conversation about Pittsburgh. This feels like the mystery of the draft. Does he go in round 1 when all is said and done? And if so, where? What are we hearing as of 9 days and counting, Schefter?
I think there are a couple of teams to watch here. I think the New York Jets, with the 33rd overall pick, are interesting. I think the Arizona Cardinals, with the first pick in the second round at 34, are interesting. Right now, it is hard to find a spot to place Ty Simpson in round 1. Right now. That doesn't mean a team couldn't trade up the way the Giants traded up last year to 25 to go get Jackson Dart to get Ty Simpson. That absolutely could happen on draft night. But as it currently stands, it is hard to place him in the first round, and there are a couple of teams at the top of the second round lurking, waiting to see how this goes. We talked about the Steelers. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't commit by the time the draft starts, do they have that conversation about Ty Simpson? I think they do have it. I think ultimately it's still a tough pick to make.
I don't know how you can have that conversation because you're going to go in the draft with Will Howard. I mean, and Mason Rudolph. So to me, and there's such a precipitous fall between Ty Simpson and fill in the blank, either Carson Beck or Garrett Nussmeier, that I think Ty Simpson has to be in the mix at 21.
Let's go through, though, general manager thinking. Okay, so now we're late in round 1. Now we're past Pittsburgh. And now it's 24, 25, 26 teams that are sitting there. And this is a draft that maybe somewhere between 18 to 20 players will have true first-round grades.
Yeah.
So now we're really sort of in an area where teams would love to move back if they can. And you know the Jets. Let's say you're Arizona. You know the Jets have the 33rd pick. You know they could sit there, sleep on it, come in Friday, and easily take the guy. Why don't you trade up to 28 or 29 and get him? That feels to me like a hot spot. Like if I'm the general manager of one of those teams, including the Jets, and I decide I want to get him, I'm trading into the end of round 1 to get him.
Absolutely. I mean, and the other team was, Lamar Jackson, Baltimore, did the same thing. They trade up to 32 to get that 5th-year option. So without question, if it comes down to Arizona and the Jets have 2 second-round picks. They probably have a little bit more ammo to get up, but absolutely agree. Like, you want to be proactive, get them, and then make sure now you have them for that 5th-year option. So that is definitely an inflection point in the draft.
That 5th-year option to me is huge, being able to get him. Tyler Shuck went to New Orleans. He went in the second round. He didn't get that option, had a really good rookie year once he got in the game. So to me, once you get to that end of that first round, if you can, you jump up and get him. But the Ty Simpson of it all has been fascinating because over the last several weeks, I've heard Juice talk about how good of a player he is, how much better he is than other teams have talked about when you compare him to Mendoza. But to your point, Schefter, who is the team that has that belief in him that is going to say, you know what, we want Ty Simpson and we believe he is that first-round draft pick?
We're going to find out. My prediction, and again, my prediction is worth next to nothing, is that someone will trade in at the very end of round 1 to take him, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. The last question in this block for you, Schefter, is the wide receiver class in general. We brought up a couple of them earlier, names that aren't maybe everywhere, Boston and Cooper to go with Cardell Tate and Jordan Tyson. What does the league think of this year's wide receiver class?
I think that there are questions about most of this year's top wide receivers. I think some of these guys are like magnets. Some of them will attract and some of them will repel, depending on the team, depending on the player. You can find holes in every one of them right now. It almost feels like Denzel Boston is the safest wide receiver, but he doesn't have the upside that Carnell Tate does, that Mekhi Lemon does, Jordan Tyson. Again, we can go through each of those names, and I can tell you something that some front office had a problem with a certain receiver. At the same time, they all have tremendous upside and have a chance to make a real impact.
Tyson is the one who I think everyone thinks is the most talented, but he has a concerning injury history. Right now, I'm putting you on the spot. 10 years from now, we're going to be saying one wide receiver from this class is great. He's had 9 Pro Bowls. He's an absolute star in the league. Which one is it?
Carnell Tate. Because to me, to Adam's point, his upside is definitely there. He's playing along Jeremiah Smith, so he's not even getting all of the balls. And I worry about Jordan Tyson's durability. Like when you look at it over 20 and 30 years, Greeny, when you have durability issues in college and now you're going to a 17-game season, you don't typically become more durable.
What do you think, Matt?
I'm fascinated by Jordan Tyson. I think the injury history is something, but college and pro are very different. The way you take care of your body, the way you learn how to be a professional athlete, what's asked of you. When you watch Jordan Tyson, there's just so much ability that jumps off the tape, the suddenness, the quickness, his ability to separate. Those translate really well in the NFL. I want to see how he develops.
Oh, by the way, there's a tight end in this draft named Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon who is like an athletic freak who I'm not 100% sure might not wind up being the best. I know he's not a wide receiver, but might not wind up being the best of this entire group. As we continue.